Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Badass Veer, and today I'll be taking a look at the PlayArts Kai Variant Edition Boba Fett. This is a pretty nice looking figure, probably one of my top 5 favorite PlayArts Kai figures, and I'd have to say probably top 5 favorite figures that I own. Which I typically say it's pretty hard for me, but I'd have to say this guy is definitely top 5 worthy because he looks fantastic. Boba Fett is a very cool looking character. I'm not quite sure why he's so very popular. I guess it's because he's so mysterious and he's the coolest looking guy out of Star Wars, maybe. I'm not sure, but I would definitely have to say I'm a pretty huge fan of how he looks, and I guess the character, if he had a little bit more you know, more screen time and stuff in the movies. But nonetheless, this variant edition is pretty freaking cool. It stays pretty true to how his costume design is, although obviously it's going to have some of those kind of Japanese you know, look to it, but even then it's still pretty close to how he looks in the movies and comics and stuff. So, you know, it doesn't look bad at all, being their interpretation of him and whatnot. So this is pretty cool. I don't even know where to start. I guess we could go over details. The green is very nice. I mean, if you see how it looks in the movies, it's like they pretty much just painted it on this guy. The green is fantastic. It's got a lot of different shades going throughout it. It's got a lot of dark shading going through. Kind of helps it mix in, make it look like it's, you know, damage to the like battle damage that he's seen, and then a lot of like kind of maybe like burn marks and stuff. The gray, not so much up in here. Up here it kind of looks like it's just a really dark gray, but there's some nice looking detail to it. But a lot of the gray on him is very smoky looking, is how I'd say it. It's like it's white, but then it has you know, a shade, like shading of gray in there, so it looks very nice. It looks very much like he's been like running through fire or something, so it's kind of like soot and whatnot, but it looks very good. The head sculpt is amazing. It looks pretty accurate to how he should look, and I'm sorry I can't get it too well on the screen because he's so tall, my camera stand doesn't go very high. But yeah, the detail on this is pretty nice. He's got the little dent in his helmet. A lot of scratches around the red by the visors, and pretty much all around just very nice looking, very beautiful paint job and sculpting all around. So the head sculpt is pretty great. I would have to say that realistically though, if Boba Fett were to take his helmet off, his head would probably be a little bit too small. I know people have complained that the head itself is small. I think it fits the, you know, the body good, but obviously if he took the helmet off, his head would probably be a little bit smaller. So that seems kind of funny, but it's not a big deal. I mean, in terms of the figure, you know, he's not getting a masked off version, so there's no reason for it to be slightly bigger to make it look like that. So I think it's proportionate, so that's good. He's got these shoulder pads here, which have the little Mandalorian symbol on there, and it's made of rubbery plastic, but it still has some very nice detail. I really like the gold on there. It's got all these nice scratches on here. Nice detail look, so that's pretty nice. So that looks good, and it's the same over here. It's a little bit different design. This one sticks up a little bit more, and this one doesn't. So there's that. Taking a look at his wrist guard area, pretty nicely detailed on both sides. It's a nice kind of a red, and then it's got some shading going throughout that. The gloves are the hands are sculpted nicely. They have some nice paint, pretty much how the rest of the gray is. The torso area, and especially right here and down here, they kind of did some overspray to make it look like the lights are glowing, which I think looks pretty awesome, and makes it look a lot more realistic, like it's actually lighting up. So that's pretty cool. Coming down to his waist area, like I said, there's some more gray going on, nicely sculpted. Makes it look really wrinkled up underneath the armor. And it's got that gray dry brushing like I said before. He's got this, his little, I don't know what you would call it, but I'm just going to call it like his little rope thing that goes around his arm and over the back, which I'm not quite sure what it even does. Maybe that's just part of his uniform or something, but it just kind of like loops around and connects to the back, so I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to do in terms of his armor, or if it's just for show. I'm not sure, but it just kind of loops around the back like that. The belt, very nicely detailed. This is obviously a floating crotch piece, kind of a bronze looking color going on here, and all the little attachments onto his belt are nicely painted. Coming down to the legs, we got some more of that gray dry brushing, some nicely sculpted leg design. All well painted, just as before with the rest of them. He's got some gold knee pads, and then his shoes, I guess, are nicely sculpted as well, and they have a nice little design to that. So overall, very nice sculpting and very nice painting. So it's definitely worth the price of the sculpt and paint alone. And then he comes with some accessories. He comes with his signature blaster. I'm not sure what it's technically called, but he holds that very good in his hand. And it's very nicely painted. It's kind of got like a gunmetal color going on towards the back. Towards the front, it's doesn't look too like, you know, crazy with the paint. It's mostly black, and then the barrel of the gun's gray, and then it's got some you know, red and green light kind of thing going on there with a red line there. And then the little scope, it's nicely painted. It looks like it's got some dry brushing on it, so that's very nice. In terms of other accessories, and I didn't even show you the backpack, but the jetpack is very nice looking too. It's very nicely sculpted. I think it's I like the way the color looks. It doesn't you know, mix in with the rest of the paint on them. It kind of sticks out because it has the nice gray and the green and the red on there, so I think that makes it look pretty good. And then this is another accessory, these two flame effects, which if you put them on the flight stand, which I haven't assembled yet, it'll make it look like he's flying, but those just peg in right into where the flames would come out. So if you want him to display them while he's flying, then you can have the little flames, which are nicely detailed. They are translucent, and then towards the bottom they're blue to show like the fire and whatnot. So I think that looks pretty nice. And obviously he comes with two of those, so you just plug those in like I said before, and you can display them like that. And then he comes with this sidearm here, which is a pretty common sidearm that he has typically with any figure. Nothing too crazy. It's just a kind of like a brownish red, it looks like, with some nice shading going through that. And that just fits in this little holster back here. And then he's got this ball hinge that has his little cape on there, which is okay. It's not like it's in the way, but it does kind of take some finagling once you try to pose them and stuff, because you kind of have to move it out of the way. And it's kind of top heavy. It's like heavier towards the bottom, so the ball hinge just has kind of a hard time sometimes keeping it from like flopping down. So if you want to have it up in the air for whatever reason, it's going to look a little silly, and then it's not going to really stay up there. So you can kind of just tuck that in there, and it just kind of stays out of the way. Otherwise you can kind of move it wherever you want to make it look like he's like walking in the wind or something. So you have that option, but I typically try to just keep it out of the way the best I can, so it's not all over the place. And then he comes with 3 sets of hands. He comes with 2 relaxed looking hands. He comes with 2 fists, and then he comes with 2 gun hands. So there's that. And then his final accessory is his flamethrower attachment, which all you have to do for that is take off this piece here, and then it'll just you'll just have to peg it in, and there you go. So it looks pretty cool. It is kind of hard to get his arms to like rotate around to make it his arms stand straight out, but once you get it, it stays in place pretty good. The arms are strong enough that they can hold the heavier part of the plastic. But if you do have problems, it comes with this clear stand, which is supposed to peg in to this little hole right here, so that's nice. They kind of thought ahead on that one in case the arms you know, couldn't handle the weight. And then I guess I forgot to mention, but he comes with these 2 knives kind of like this, and those peg down here, or they just go into the little sheath down on his boots, so that's pretty cool. So that's about it, and I would say, you know, sculpt wise and paint wise, everything like that, it's definitely a good figure, and it really makes it worth that, you know, $125 or however much he cost. But in terms of articulation, the head is on a ball joint, and his neck's also on a ball joint, I'm guessing. It doesn't move around too much, the neck doesn't, so the head kind of moves independently of that, but it does give you some more like neck rotation if you want him to look down or up a little bit more. So the head has a lot of movement. The arms can go in and out, but this shoulder piece here on this side is probably going to limit it a little bit, even with the rubbery plastic, just because it kind of gets in the way of his head and prevents it from going up. But his arms can go forward and back, in and out. He has, it doesn't look, well, yeah, he has a butterfly joint in there, so that can go inward and outward at the shoulder. Then he's got a bicep swivel. He's got a double ball joint in the elbows, so it ratchets and he gets a good 90 degrees. He rotates at the forearm here. He's got a double ball peg in the wrist, so that can go up and down, and then you can turn it to go in and out, however you want that to work. It's the same on this side. This side, even on this side, it's kind of hard to get his arms out all the way, just because he's got this clunking thing here, and then his shoulder piece again. But you know, going outward is fine, and then probably if you want to go out like that. But I'd just be careful, because these figures are so fragile sometimes that you just have to make sure that it doesn't break on you. And then he's got this upper diaphragm joint, which is on a swivel, so he can get a pretty good crunch, and then he can go really far back, and you can see there's a gap there, but that's not too big of a deal. Nothing to really concern about. I mean, really, that's about as far as you really need to go. I don't really know why you need to have them like slung back like that, but you know, at least the articulation's there. I'm guessing, yeah, he can rotate at the waist. That's on a double ball peg, I'm guessing. Get the gun back in there, it's kind of sliding out. The legs can go forward and back. Those are on ratchets to go in and out. About that far. I wouldn't go much farther than that. It seems like it's kind of forcing it at that point, so you want to be careful. He's got double jointed knees, which I think out of all the play arts, this is probably the best looking, because the knee pads cover up, kind of cover up that ugly looking joint there. So he's got double jointed knees, and then he's got the double ball peg in the foot, which allows him to go forward and back, and then it can rotate side to side for the ankle pivot. So overall, very nice figure. Like I said, I'd have to say this guy is definitely top 5 worthy, just because you know, he's a very nice looking figure. I love the sculpt, I love the paint and the accessories. I mean, there could have been, I mean, I don't know what other accessories they could have given him. That's pretty much all the accessories that Boba Fett would typically need, because that's pretty much all he does. But other than that, it's very nice, and I would definitely say it's worth picking up if you don't have them yet. And I mean, he just came out, so if you were thinking about pre-ordering him or ordering him, then I would definitely do so if you have the money. But he is pretty expensive, so that's something to consider, or to put in consideration. But it's definitely worth it once you get them, especially if you're a huge Boba Fett and or Star Wars fan. But that's my review, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, and check out my channel for previous reviews, and I'll talk to you guys later.